Hi, my name is Irma Liebhart. I work for the Michigan chapter of the Sierra Club, and we're here today to plant a rain garden. A rain garden is a form of green infrastructure, and what that means is a rain garden with its native plants manage stormwater by infiltrating stormwater that runs off from a roof or a driveway or a parking lot. It infiltrates that stormwater into the ground via the roots of the native plants. In Detroit, we have a combined sewer system, and that means that our sewage and our stormwater travel in the same pipe to the wastewater treatment plant or water resource recovery facility. And on a dry day, it's able to treat that sewage, but when it storms and we have these heavy rain events, that volume often exceeds the capacity of the wastewater treatment plant, and the excess overflows into our Detroit and Rouge rivers. So planting this rain garden here today is one of the best methods we have to help reduce the amount of stormwater that goes into that storm drain during those heavy rain events.
Hi, I'm Cindy Ross, Restoration Manager for Friends of the Rouge. We are constructing a rain garden today. We have volunteers gathering. We've pulled out the materials. The first step in the process is to remove the existing vegetation. So we're getting ready to start digging. So volunteers are busy digging away, and the goal is to dig down about 8 inches, maybe 8 to 10 inches really, because we're going to add, our next step is to add some compost. We have done all of the digging. We dug the garden out about 8 inches deep, and now we're going to spread compost. Compost is the sponge that really holds the moisture in the garden while the plants are getting developed. It also helps to keep the plants nice and moist so they develop well, and adds a little bit of nutrients to the soil. So we have added the compost to our garden. Our next step is to plant. We use Michigan native flowers and grasses. This is a native grass called purple lovegrass. You can see they have deeper roots even as seedlings. The beauty of these plants is that they have really, really deep root structures. When they're fully established, these roots can grow 8 to 10, some of them even up to 15 feet deep. And they grow straight down. And they're very fibrous. You can see that. They're very fibrous root structures that almost act like a little net, right? But below the soil, they grow, they grow and die off. Every year, a plant will have some of their roots die off, just like we lose hair, and we're constantly growing hair. They're constantly growing roots. And so the roots that die off open up the soil and provide a place for water to just percolate really deep into the ground. So these are our powerhouse. We all hear about how bad the pollinators are suffering. So this garden will actually really help provide pollen for them throughout the season. So yeah, our next step, that was a long-winded way to tell you about our next step. We're gonna plant these flowers. So I'm getting ready to drop them into place, and then our volunteers are gonna go ahead and plant them. It's important to plant them level with the soil around the plant. So if the soil is up here and the plant is kind of down low, the plant's likely to rot and not survive. And the opposite, if it's sticking up a little too high, then it can dry out. So it's really important to plant the plant level with the soil around it. And then see how they've been growing in these little cells? It's also important to break up the roots a little bit. We call that tickling the root. And it doesn't hurt the plant. Just want to break it open a little bit so that these roots don't try to grow in that spiral where they've been growing. We want them to grow down deep into the soil. And so it's just that easy. And so I'm going to start dropping plants, and we'll get the garden planted in no time. fully planted with our native flowers and grasses. The next step is newspaper. That's right, good old-fashioned newspaper. The reason that we're doing this is it helps to prevent any weed seeds that might be in the soil, or little bits of grass that we might have missed from growing. And so we're kind of just smothering those out with newspaper, and then we're going to hide the newspaper with mulch. So you won't see it, but it really works well. We're going to put about a 3-inch layer of mulch, wood chips, around our plants, not against them, but close to them, and around the garden, just to keep it looking beautiful, keep the moisture in the garden, help the plants get established, and really help to control weeds. It's also important to water your garden. So now that we have finished planting and mulching, we are having the kids add some water. So we're just about done with this rain garden installation. We have dug the site out, we added compost, planted our plants, covered that with newspaper and mulch to prevent some weeds and to hold in that moisture. And we added rocks. Rocks are an additional layer just to add some structure to the garden. It's a human element to make the garden feel more welcoming to us. We had a great turnout from the community. We had children, we had high school students, and adults from the community all working together to make this project happen and to pretty quickly install this garden, start to finish, in just under 3 hours. We're so grateful for the volunteers in the community who came together to help us do this. And we wanted to give you a moment to learn how easy this is to do. Start to finish, everyone could do just a little bit at home, and we can collectively have a really big impact at protecting our water resources and our Great Lakes here in Michigan, Southeast Michigan. So thanks so much for joining us, and we love to see you next time.